Well, good morning, everyone. As you can see, I've got the blade off the old D2 here in preparation for some work we're going to do today. We're going to build up an area where the springs rest on the track frames. It's worn down pretty good. I'll crawl underneath and show you that. And then we're going to work on building a side engine guard, and then eventually put all this pipe to use, getting a canopy made. So let me show you where we're going to start underneath. So here's what we've got down here, the main spring. Here's the oil pan and into the track frame. And you can see how worn this is. This steel here is actually all kind of mushroomed out just from over 5,000 hours of bouncing along there, and a pretty good gap up top with that keeper. So I've got some 1/2 inch thick angle iron I'm going to cut just to kind of fit underneath there and kind of level the nose of this thing back out. So we're going to raise this up. And we'll get a measurement in there. I think it's about 2.5 inches wide, this spring pack. So this will definitely help level out the nose of the tractor and maybe keep it from bouncing up and down as much without this gap here. So you can see we're not even quite touching the top yet. And that's the gap we're going to fill with a piece of angle. So we'll go get that cut now and do both sides, of course. All right, so now that we got it pulled up to the shop, we got the kind of curled over edge of steel cut off and got the paint cleaned off of both sides so that we can put these new spacers, risers, whatever they are, we'll get them in. So I'm gonna roll it like this. Some dirt in the way, but we'll get that knocked all the way in. Do that on both sides. All right, we got everything in place now, so we'll just burn them in. Another thing I've been wanting to build for this cat for a while is another side panel. Both sides have panels like this that kind of protect the motor. You can see underneath here, even comes underneath basically to the engine block. So that as I'm pushing through brush and dirt, nothing's kicking up into the engine. But this side doesn't have one. It was missing when I got it. And a lot of times they get taken off when they need to work on something. In this case, maybe work with the starter, and they get just not put back on or ran over or left. So we're going to build one up that's going to closely match the other side. It's not going to be an exact replica, but it'll protect this whole side, especially the fuel line and all the wiring going to the starter. I've had brush kind of come up here as I've been pushing and don't want to tear anything loose in there. So we'll get started on that. Let's see how this goes. Getting there. Apparently I didn't cut this side through as much as I did over here, because that's bending much easier. Almost got it. Okay, that's pretty close to a 90. Let's pull it off and see how that looks. All right, not bad. So one side panel. Well, the starter one. We'll probably run a bead on the inside as well too, just for some strength. Then a couple gussets wherever they fit along here, as well as that pipe on the top. Round everything off. I do think I've got to cut a bit of an angle off here. We should be good to go. All right, welcome back. It's been a few days, but we're gonna try to finish up the side panel project for the D2. I pulled the old one off to pull some measurements off of and kind of get an idea of how these braces looked. So this new panel is, as you can see, trimmed to fit around certain objects down on the bottom, and then a couple braces that have been cut just to kind of, I don't know, mimic those ones. Again, not a perfect reproduction of a side panel, but enough to protect all the starter wiring. And then this tube here is going to kind of have the same look of this rolled piece on the top. It's just going to get welded up here like that. So we'll get to burning this together. All right, let's see how this fits. So we'll need those anymore. Stay. All right, so that's the idea. New side panel. Still got to fix this hole, isn't quite lining up. I see, so we'll work on that. But on the underside here, you can see all that extra protection it gives it. So we'll get the hole squared up here, throw a little paint on it, try to match the crusty paint that there is, and call it done. All right, both side panels are back on now. This is the crusty old bent side. And then the new side here, I threw some brown spray paint in there with the yellow to kind of fade it in a little bit. And with use, it'll all match eventually. But it's all set, protecting the starter down there and the fuel line. And then everything underneath as well. So we're good to go. That's it for this part of the project. See you guys next time.